got pretty wound up in the last hour. U.S. is carrying out vast majority of strikes on ISIS. Military officials say, well, I went and read very carefully this morning when I got up about 6 a.m. the press release, the data sheets, and the videos being put out by the Pentagon of these so-called strikes. And most of them are against the Khorasan group. That is an al-Qaeda group, spinoff. And they all fit the MO of double, triple agents who've been able to survive for more than a decade. And if they did want to try to launch a terror attack, this would be the kind of group that does it. But basically, this is a Wahhabist Sunni jihad against Shiite-held areas, and is a repeat of 3 or 4 wars that have happened in the last 300 years between these groups. That's all that's happening. And our government is backing the Sunnis out of Saudi Arabia to run this jihad. And so everybody freaked out in our military, and I literally cried when they said we're not going to bombard Syria and turn it over to al-Qaeda to chop everybody's heads off. They already killed over 300,000 people at that point. I literally got a tear in my eye thinking maybe we can save America. We beat their main propaganda push. Kerry 15 months ago said if we do not attack, they will nuke us. Senator Graham came out and said the East Coast will be nuked. Remember all that? One day after we said there's missing nukes from Daesh? And guess what? That really happened, boys and girls. That really happened. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it doesn't look good. Then Obama says a week after that, my #1 fear is a mushroom cloud in Manhattan, a nuke. Didn't say who. And we had to attack Assad, or they said al-Qaeda would nuke America. The Armed Services Committee head, Graham, and others saying, take out Assad or al-Qaeda will hit us, when Assad is a Shiite Alawite, arch enemies with them in a death battle. See, it's the preying on the ignorance that just when you know the players, it's like saying Batman works for the Joker. It's like saying the Dallas Cowboys are in D.C. It's just patent, absolute, bald-faced baloney to bamboozle the public. And then I ask, if polls show 60-some% want ISIS struck, well, I want to kill ISIS. I want to see ISIS dead. I mean, these are really crazy-eyed, scum-of-the-earth psychos that are allowed to travel out of the U.S. and England and Europe and the Middle East. I mean, it's in mainstream news that they let them fly into Turkey, drive around on buses with guns in front of everybody when nobody else can have guns. They're openly being armed. They're being protected. They're allowed to use the internet. They're allowed to use Facebook and Twitter when we're getting frustrated all the time and blocked. They obviously have been armed by the West. They've obviously been protected. They're 95% of the jihad forces over there, not 65. That's directly from high-level, congressional-level meetings. 2-week-old information. In Congress 2 weeks ago, they were told 95% are actually al-Qaeda. They fly the flags openly. Everyone knows, okay? And then Obama gets up there and is bombing some group that was imminently about to attack us. And I said over and over again, they'll bomb some little subgroup, real or not, I don't know, because they can't bomb the, quote, good militants that's al-Qaeda, renamed ISIL, all these other names, because that's who they're arming and resupplying right now. The real story is the $500 million publicly, because they're so worried about impeachment or hearings about arming al-Qaeda the last 4 years in Libya and Syria that they're now doing all this to cover up what really happened and get public approval and congressional approval to the $500 million, and then more will flow to resupply al-Qaeda to take out Assad, but they don't want you to know they're funding al-Qaeda. And that's what's happening. There are no ifs, ands, or buts from any way you slice it. And I'm going to do this right now. I rarely do this. I should do it more often. Occasionally we say only Obama supporters can call in. I'm going to do that again today in this hour, second hour. Only people that support Obama, or if you think I'm wrong about the players in the Middle East and you want to disagree with me, and I don't want joke callers that call in and go, oh, hi, Alex. I think you're racist because you're not against, bombing, blah, blah, blah. You're not for bombing ISIS. You're for them. I want serious people. I know there are millions of people listening right now. Conservatively, there are 3 million people listening right now. Very conservative, low number. 3 million people are listening right now. I know you're out there. Let me give the number out for you slowly. Under Common Core, you could just give out any number and it would call me, but that's not how things work. We can't say 2 + 2 = 5 here, so, or 11 and 7. I'm sorry, folks, that does equal 18. In Common Core, they say it equals 19. These are real equations. These are real numbers. I want to hear from you. 800-259-9231. 1-800-259-9231. Now, if you want to call in and say I work for the Vatican or I work for Israel or I work for the Keebler Elves or I work for the CIA or any of this other stuff, that any regular day you can call in and say that. I love it. I know who I work for. That's trying to get my heart right with God. That's who I work for, is my conscience. I work for not being a coward. I work for being honorable at the end of my days. I work for being bona fide. Not in the sight of this system, but in the sight of God. That's who I work for. Oh, yeah, he works for God. Well, I mean, I'm against abortion. I'm against shooting kids up with deadly vaccines. I'm against bad stuff. I'm against bad will. I'm against jihadist head choppers. And that's why I'm against this intervention, because it's all fake and it's an excuse and a smokescreen to arm them for the next phase. And you watch, in 3-4 months, they're going to be trying to bring down Assad again. Hell, the U.S. ambassador to the UN said Sunday, we aired it Monday, she said, no, this is about toppling Assad. So I guess they're already doing it. See, it's so oxymoronic. It's such a fraud. It's bizarro land. It's like Alice in Wonderland's tea party with just insanity, with like glasses with holes in the bottom as you pour the tea in. It's just, but that's Machiavellian. The policy is so twisted, so evil, the average person just can't even understand it. They did the same thing in Iran in '53, a secular pro-America leader, but he wanted some of the oil money to build their country and build universities, Mohammed Mossadegh. So they hired a bunch of radical jihadis to blow up government buildings and shoot people. Then they blamed Mossadegh, arrested him, executed his whole command, and then double-crossed the jihadis and put the Shah in. So, I mean, I think they will double-cross the jihadis down the road here, but you don't say, oh, to win in the Middle East, we turn al-Qaeda loose to murder the oldest Christian areas in the world. The globalists have the same bad will against us they have against the poor Syrians and the poor Egyptians and the poor Libyans. They hate everybody. The globalists get off on their disdain. It would be so easy just to start hating everybody. It'd be so easy to not play by the rules. It'd be so easy to be cold-blooded. It'd be so easy to turn off my emotions. But that would be turning my soul off, and I will not do it. But they've done it. 800-259-9231. You want that number? 800-259-9231. We have Brian in Rhode Island who says he's a supporter, and we have Ron in Canada. We have the other phone lines ringing. Sometimes it takes a while to get Obama supporters to call in. But it is happening, so we're going to get to hear about all this when we come back from break. And we'll look at other angles of news as well. But the system wants to incrementally build up the tyranny, like the frog in the pot, so that we don't wake up and say no. And point out that the establishment does not have the moral high ground, and that the establishment is an alien, corporate, crony capitalist, anti-free market system that is the equivalent of viral, metastasizing cancer in the body and must be dealt with. A lot of you that sold out of the system, you feel unfulfilled. You're unfulfilled because you're going against humanity. Join the team. Doesn't mean you got to agree with me on every issue, but you know stuff's really wrong. Don't infight with each other. Don't go after the little guys anymore. Go after the big fish. Go after the tyrants. Make them fear the public in the info war. Make them know that we see them. They're desperate to get control of the narrative again. We're going to go to break. Please don't forget that we have incredible Made in America apparel at very affordable prices. It's comparable to a lot of stuff made in China that they sell in stores. Golf shirts, hats, camo hats, black hats, 1776 on it, great conversation piece. A whole line of Molon Labe hats and shirts, a new one out with an American flag that is really good looking. You've seen a lot of American flag shirts. Well, this is kind of the Special Forces style. Really a handsome shirt. We've got them for men and women. We've got the woman shirt that's got gold foil on it. Really looks dynamite on your wife or girlfriend. And your purchase funds this operation one little bit at a time. Madein1776.com or InfoWarsStore.com is the master site. And just click on Made in 1776 link in the upper right-hand corner. And also, please don't forget InfoWarsLife.com, all the cutting-edge supplements. The Oxy powder, believe me, try it. You'll be 100% hooked on what it does for you and your body. I mean, we are only carrying the most dynamite products out there. InfoWarsLife.com. And when you buy the products, you are funding an organization savagely committed to the truth, viciously committed. You understand? Viciously. By the way, the headline on Drudge Report is War on War. Yeah, I say give them another 4 or 5 Nobel Peace Prizes for arming Al-Qaeda and now bombing some little subgroup. May not have even happened. I don't know how I know exactly what they're going to do. Because I'm on record. I wish we had the staff to find it. But any listener who listens every week knows I've said in the last month probably 30 times that they would bomb some little subgroup and not the real group because the whole thing is ISIS. All the rebels are ISIS. So now Obama says, quote, we have to have a war on war. That's like UN peacekeepers running around slaughtering people, and it's always peaceful. It makes me cry. John Harmon, who answers the phones, I wouldn't really call it screens them because we don't really screen them, but we get your name, where you're calling from, or if you have a topic you want to bring up. So we know what we're talking about when we go to you. And when he asks, do you support Obama? Do you think Alex is wrong about what's happening in the Middle East? Do you think the sky's really red and not blue at high noon? They all begin laughing. Okay, how about just general Obama supporters? Or how about folks that like Boehner, funding Obamacare, supporting open borders, saying Obama's right to have this fake war on ISIS, to act like they're not running them? And that's all this is. I would like to hear from you out there. Or maybe carbon taxes are good. Maybe you believe paying Al Gore money will save us. 800-259-9231. You notice usually I give the number out like 2 or 3 times on the show, and then we have enough callers to last 10 years, but not when I'm calling for Obama supporters. 800-259-9231. What about Obama supporters for Obamacare? How you liking them apples? Ron in Canada, are you really a supporter of our dear leader?
Yes, I am. Actually, I'm an Obama supporter because I like Obamacare. And
but you're in Canada. You're in Canada.
Yes.
Can you talk?
Yes. Well, basically what I want to say is I see what Obama's doing in Syria and Iraq. Right now he's bombing them. Can you hear that? Can your viewers hear this? They're firing Hellfire missiles on ISIS right now.
That's the proof.
Live leak on YouTube.
Well, that's better than when CNN did the fake chemical attacks on Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and it was all on a blue screen, and then the live feed went out and TV stations grabbed it with them joking and laughing with the blue screen off. So, I mean, I guess it is real. In fact, we're here. Alex Jones reporting for CNN. I am here in Syria, and I'm battling Al-Qaeda. Here. In fact, I'll draw a picture for TV viewers, which proves it. This is real. Here, document cam shot, please. Here we go. Here is the jihadi, and we're going to drop a missile on him. He's got his little machine gun here, and like my missile goes. There we go. I blow him up. I'm against Al Qaeda. I'm a Peace Prize winner. Here, I mean, how's that sound? Sound good, everybody? No, it's true. I said so. I'm the media. It's true. 2 + 2 = 5. We're blowing up Al Qaeda. It's a real attack. Down with Al Qaeda. Down with them. We're defeating Khorasan. How's that sound?
Okay, the infidels are actually kicking some ass right now.
Hey, listen, I appreciate your call. They were in Atlanta. This isn't meant. You just heard a little thump. Yeah, me too. Oh, I'm in Syria. Boom, bombs. Help me, Al Qaeda. Save me, Homeland Security. Take all my freedom. Spy on me. Tax me. Grope me at the airport. Joe, you hear that scary car alarm? Look what bad actors they are. So the establishment had a problem. Our military woke up to the fact that it was true. Criminal elements of our government were arming Al Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, and others to actually take over the Middle East. So our military wouldn't go along with it. So now there's a big PR campaign to bomb some little Khorasan group. So Obama looks like he's tough on Muslim extremists. That's what's going on. We're going to go to your phone calls now. We do have some people claiming they're Obama supporters, but we just opened the phones up in general now because it is hard to get Obama supporters to call in because they don't know how to dial telephones. And I'm not, you watch MSNBC, it's all about how smart liberals are. Well, the average well-meaning person that supports some liberal issues, like, sexual equality or, trying to help the poor, they might be intelligent in ways, but they're still being manipulated. I can disagree with some of their ideas, but they're nice people. But the folks up on top of it are literally preying on the dumbest of the dumb. And I have found that Democrats in general are the most conceited, know-it-all, state-loving acolytes. It's a religion of the state. And it's very, very sad. They're fake liberals. Thomas Jefferson was a liberal. They're not liberals. You can see the new Team America video that we played at the start of the show today that Rob Dew put together. It's pretty hilarious, but also sad, tying it into how our government's funding Al-Qaeda. We need that video to go viral. I think it will. It's on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, and we're going to tweet it out right now at Real Alex Jones. New Team America released. Also, special report, Obama wants amnesty for murderers and rapists. John Bound, I want to play that in the next hour, guys. John Bound did a great report yesterday on Ebola. I never aired. I want to air that, too. Moderate U.S. armed Syrian rebels slam Obama's airstrikes on extremists. That's all for public consumption, folks. They're being told to do that. We're so angry. How dare you bomb no one? Yeah. I like you. You have... the truth about U.S. airstrikes on Syria with Syrian girl. Paul Watson interviewed her. Her grandfather formerly ran Syria and is not a fan of Assad. Representative Jones on Syria attack says, why do we have a constitution? By the way, I want to get Walter Jones on ASAP, guys. That's at the top of my list. Let's go after him. He'll introduce the bill to release the 28 pages. And there's another report detailing from Washington's blog with all the proof. U.S. forces... U.S. foreign policy created many more terrorists than it killed. In a Tony Cartalucci article, U.S. aggression drags world into age of global anarchy. That's because it's not U.S. aggression. It's globalists running our country to destabilize things so the globalists can come in with no blame and take over the wreckage. Look at this headline out of the National Journal. Why is Kansas preparing for a zombie apocalypse? We were telling you about this for 3 years. Now, state and local governments trained to, quote, shoot zombies. That's a simulation of shooting Ebola patients or shooting rioting crowds. I'm going to say this again. If they have the police and military training to mow down unarmed civilians, it'd be a major controversy. Just call it zombie training. And they now admit that. So I'm going to be breaking that down as well. Let's go to your calls. Who says they support Obama? DJ claims he does. And we'll go to Robert, Tim, Terrence, James, and others. Okay, DJ, are you a real caller?
Yes, Alex. This is DJ from Alabama. And I will say that I voted for Obama twice the first time I voted for him was because, well, you know, I guess John McCain was pretty much a treasonous traitor who sold secrets to Vietnam. So it was the lesser of two evils. And then I voted for Obama against what's his name? The guy from
Mittens Romney?
Gosh. Yeah, Romney. Yeah, Romney. I voted for him against Romney because I thought Romney was a buffoon. But it's like, to be completely honest, Alex, it's like no doubt when I first heard you on Jesse Ventura, I thought you were crazy. And then I saw you on Piers Morgan. I was like, holy crap. And it's like now I've read like 2 books. I've read David Rockefeller's memoirs, and I've read Zbigniew Brzezinski's book.
Good job.
And it's like I feel like an idiot for voting for Obama now because I really feel bad. And it's like now I like go around all the black communities because I'm black now, because at first when I heard you say this, I thought you were crazy, but you said that 48% of black babies are aborted, and I was like, this guy has to be lying. And then I did my research and found out it was true. So now all I do is walk around with the InfoWars, and I tell black people all around the country, man, you know, and I just go around telling them that, hey, 40% of black babies are aborted, that Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist, that Bill Gates' father used to be the head of Planned Parenthood, and that, man, to just completely get away from these organizations. So, yes, I did vote for Obama, but I do think I'd vote for probably Rand Paul or somebody like that now.
Well, that's awesome. But listen, I was sick of Bush after 8 years, but Bush was just a front like Obama is. It's that in Obama, they tried to create a cause celeb that they could sell their whole agenda on and then say you were racist if you didn't support him. I, quite frankly, don't get caught flat-footed very often. I got caught flat-footed by Obama. It's been much worse than I thought it would be. He came off kind of as a nice guy, even though he was anti-gun. I didn't support him. I hope there can be racial reconciliation. I bought into maybe 10% of the Kool-Aid because it was just such an onslaught of propaganda. But in hindsight, I know people wanted to believe there could be change. People wanted to believe that things could be better. He said he wouldn't come after our guns. He said he would get jobs going again. He said, just like we're going to believe in the next Republican and then try to vote for them, and they'll betray us until we look past the puppets and look to the actual controllers. I get people that voted for Obama over McCain or over Romney because they were conned. What I don't get is people that still support it and still don't admit that he was their greatest tool and that he was literally the first synthetic president. We see in Obama the 2.0 puppet, and they are just really taking this country down by design, and they are investing in him and placing on him dictatorial powers, and they're not being blocked, so that the precedent is set to make the bureaucracy a dictatorship with a titular head that is a president they control. And so for all intents and purposes, we can officially say America is in an oligarchy run by an executive branch and bureaucratic hierarchy that has overthrown the republic and is waging systematic, scientific, cultural war on any pillar of society, because they see any pillar of society as something that we might organize around. Even if those pillars aren't perfect, they want them destroyed because they want total control. It is just a sickening will to power. I want to hear from Republicans that the neocons and the fake conservatives are a scourge working with Obama. I want to hear them admit they were wrong. We all have to admit how we were wrong. We've all got to admit we were once dumb as dirt. And it's a process that we won't get fooled again. And I think that's starting to happen. But I was being a little bit sarcastic earlier, you know, saying call in and tell me that Obama isn't just smoke screening the fact that they funded al-Qaeda. So the fact they're having to do all this shows how thin their storyline is getting. But very powerful story, DJ. Anything else?
Yes, Alex. I want to make this last point that when I was reading Brzezinski's book, he said that when he was on the Trilateral Coalition, when he formed it with David Rockefeller, that basically he actually picked Jimmy Carter to be president.
Yes.
And basically, we basically don't have any presidents who are really picked by the people. All, you know, basically all these presidents are picked by the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission. So Obama's basically picked and, you know, and basically Obama got his orders from Henry Kissinger when General James Jones went down there and said that, hey, we basically get our foreign policy from Kissinger. So, man, we're basically screwed. But Alex, but I'm out here trying to, wake everybody, black people, white people, and all the Mexicans that, hey, man, if we all just unite for liberty and freedom, man, we can really take back the New World Order.
That's right. That's why they want divide and conquer. God bless you. We've got to unite around basic common sense and the truth. And see, that's why I'm frustrated. I've read, I think, 4 or 5 of Brzezinski's books. I've read all 3 of Tragedy and Hope authors' books. I have just, I've gotten to the point, I'll be honest, that I haven't read a lot of books lately. I read a lot of magazine articles, news articles, stuff that comes in, and clips. I already know who they are. I already know what they do. I've already been to 6 Bilderberg meetings. I've already had them threaten to murder my family. And I mean, that's when the phone rings and no numbers come up and they're threatening you and then tell you what you were doing 2 minutes ago in your backyard and start laughing at you. It doesn't intimidate me. I just say, glad I'm not you. Bring it. I mean, I know how real this is, folks. Get involved in the fight against the New World Order. You'll discover it as well. Only reason they haven't killed me yet is they don't want to make me a martyr. No exaggeration. It's got to be 25 times. I'll be at a book signing, a video signing, an event, and here comes the plainclothes informant or whatever, and, hey, Alex, let's kill cops together. Let's blow something up. And I'm just like, I even knew who the security forces were at one Bilderberg, and I said to him, right in front of the crew at dinner, these people came over and sat by us at the table and turned around. Look, these big Marine Corps officers in plain clothes. They give me their fake cards and stuff. And I said, are you guys part of State Department diplomatic security? And they literally look like you just caught a cat with a bird in its mouth. You know how Sylvester looks with Tweety Bird when Granny catches him? I mean, these guys are just so used to the public not knowing anything that it's like they live. She goes, I've got one that can see. They'll literally just go, oh, what? I'll go, what, are you an FBI informant? Because that's usually, you can always tell those. And they'll just say, huh? And I'm like, guys, get the camera, follow this guy out in the parking lot. He's start running right now. I got to go. It's just so obvious. I can tell that's Marine Corps, that's FBI, this is CIA. They try to buy you dinner and a bottle of wine and actually give you good info. It's federal marshals. Never had anything bad with them. I mean, it is just like clockwork, ladies and gentlemen. So one time I went in one of the steakhouses for my buddy's wife's 40th birthday, and the Bush daughters were in there. They still weren't 21. They were drinking wine with their boyfriends that had just devil tattoos all over them. And Kevin's like, I'm going to my car to get my video camera. And I said, no, you're not, dude. We don't mess with people's kids. And not that he's bad, but I just said, that's a no-no. I don't want my kids messed with. Leave them alone. And to make a long story short, when I got there, there were these guys standing out from there. Hey, Alex Jones, how's it going? Somebody, I said, who's in there? And they, we're not going to say, but we really like you. And we were just listening to your show today. Yeah. And, man, boy, I tell you, it's wild. And then I'm sitting there eating dinner, and they come over and go, these gentlemen, because they were in there eating too, another group of them would like to buy a bottle of wine. And I was like, well, thank you very much. Anyways, the point is, it's all just people. The whole country is just made up of people. I don't know how I got off into that story. And I'm not trying to do their scaring for them. I think you're not cowards, folks. I think that when you hear the truth about all this, you're going to want to stand up against it like I have. Because somebody has got to make the stand against King George or Santa Anna or the next tyrant. Somebody's got to be first to stand up and say, I don't care what you do to me, I'm not going to back down because you're hurting innocent people. The real fight is against the New World Order. They're the occupiers. They're the people that have taken over. And if we ever force a debate about that, that's it for their system. Let's go ahead and go to Terrence in Canada. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
Good.
Good. No, but Obama, Bush, Gore, all of them, they're all scum. They're all still part of the same two-headed dragon, to quote a mortal technique. I actually wanted to tell you something. There's a show that, two things actually, that me and my brother watch. It's called One Piece, and it's for everybody who loves freedom, who wants to fight the new world order, who's awake, and it's really based on dreams, the world government, morals, ambitions, injustice.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows out that are actually against the tyranny now. People have been sending me clips of them and stuff. That's interesting. What's the name of the show again?
It's called One Piece, and you can find it on watchop.com.
All right. Sounds like... All right, I appreciate your call, bro. Let's talk to Robert in New York. We're going to move quick now. Go ahead, Robert.
Hey, Alex. Good to talk to you, man. I actually got turned on to you by Gerald Salente, who's been a friend of mine for 30 years and started following you for a very long time and totally back the cause and what you're doing. But my point is years ago, I got injured and needed to, was spinal cord injury and needed a wheelchair, went through the process of getting, durable medical equipment, as they call it. And back in '79, it was pretty easy to get through and get the equipment I needed. Needless to say, I went on to get off the system, was self-employed for 25 years, paid my taxes. I ran a jewelry store, and then recently, due to some other medical problems, had to get rid of my store and get back on disability. But the issues and the problems that I'm facing going through this Obamacare maze are just absolutely absurd and insane. And it's a joke. It's a joke.
Well, what you've just said is how they govern us. They govern us by confusion, by denial, by making things so weird that no one can ever figure it out. And then at the end of the day, you find out years later it was a giant tax increase. That's how these screw jobs work. Now we've seen a fourth name given to al-Qaeda, Khorasan, to confuse everyone. That's what they do. That's all they do. Why do you think Common Core tells kids they don't have to spell right or know how to add 2 + 2? It's all meant to turn people into a bunch of idiots. And, it's come out in federal court cases that for at least 20 years they won't hire cops in most departments with over 100 IQ because they found, quote, they won't follow orders. Well, I don't think it's worked because the police I talk to are pretty smart and know that there's a setup going on, but they're sure trying. So if they can't do that, they'll just dumb everybody down with fluoride in the water. That's how, the papa lion will sometimes eat the baby lion to knock out his competition. Or the male grizzly bear will come find the female grizzly bear and will kill the males. Will kill a male baby because he doesn't want that competition. And that's what eugenics is. It isn't trying to make the race better, as they say. It's actually targeting the best of us. Very interesting, Robert. Good to hear from you. Tim, Michael, Abdel, Jeff, your calls are all coming up straight ahead. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com. Abdel in Canada wants to chime in on what's happening with the al-Qaeda forces and more that Obama claims he's attacking while he's really arming them and giving them money. And as they just go attack some little subgroup, who knows if that's even true. But it's all over the news, the cruise missiles being fired and America fighting back against the group they armed. Abdel, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi. First of all, thank you for taking my call. And let me just say that English being my third language, I'm not as an eloquent speaker as you, so I'm sorry for your audience.
Well, you sound pretty smart, buddy. Go ahead.
So, I found out about you, via the Piers Morgan interview. And, the whole point was about, gun control and the Second Amendment. And I'd just like to share with the viewers my experience when I was in Algeria in the 90s. We had, an Islamic insurgency there. So Islamists were trying to take over, the country. And so they were killing left and right. And then you had the criminal syndicate in the government there. So as a, free human being who just happened to be born there, you're stuck, right? So you had the government who's armed, who's corrupt, and then you have the Islamists, right? And they were killing left and right. And things changed when people got fed up. And they told the government, they said, if you don't give us weapons to defend ourselves, we'll start killing you, your families, and the Islamist families. You know, they will,
That's right. I followed that with the Islamists from the north, funded by the CIA, attacking to destabilize and put pressure on the mainly Christian and animist government there in Nigeria. The people started demanding their own Second Amendment. Tell folks more about that.
Yes. So, and this is in Algeria, and
it's funny you said Algeria, because similar things happened also in Nigeria.
Yeah. So
you know that, right?
Yeah, you know, with the whole, Christian Muslim situation going on in Nigeria there, but in the 90s in Algeria, so at first the government said no, so then people started forming death squad. So you had civilians, just grabbing knives and whatever and going into Islamic territories and start killing off people. Well,
yeah, the same thing happened in Mexico. After they took all the guns, crime rates exploded. They came and got guns here illegally, and they're actually shutting the crime down in areas all over Mexico with the small caliber and single shot and street bought guns against the drug cartels that are buying military equipment. So very powerful story. Tell folks more about Algeria.
So. The broader point, even like in the whole Arab world, pretty much, you always hear about people complain, where are the moderates, where are the normal people there? We know they're there. The problem is, if you want, say, freedom, or have a republic, the government will shoot at you. If you want to grab a beer after a long day of work, the Islamists will shoot at you. So, people there are stuck. They can't
I hear you. The vast majority, from what I've seen, in the Middle East, North Africa, are just moderate folks, hard-working, smart people that want to have a life. And then the West is busy funding the radical jihads to basically try to turn the place into a Stone Age area. And the entire Middle East and North Africa and other areas was very advanced until the last 1,400 years. And it has been basically brought backwards, unfortunately, because of all the warfare caused by the clashes and the expansion of Islam. It is just a fact. I'm not bashing Muslims themselves, but you can look at the Middle East pre-Islam versus after Islam, and the wars to first dominate the Middle East and then dominate around that, and to invade Europe have not been good. And that allowed elites to entrench themselves in the West and Christendom because of the outside threat as well. War is good for thugs to stay in power. Good to hear from you, Abdel, in Canada. Same story, different country. But what happens if the terrorist game is through? Then the military-industrial complex doesn't have a war to fight anymore, and the big banks don't have a distraction to get us into debt. They would make our troops serve 5, 6, 7, 8 tours, on average about 3, and then put them on death list and not give them basic medical care because it would, quote, save money. That's an elite that are scum, and it's time to admit it, America. America still has a lot of good in it, especially compared to other countries. I've been around. I love this country. And I'm sick of a bunch of criminals running it in the ground and putting my name and your name and my family's name and your family's name on everything they're doing. Let's talk to Tim in Canada. Go ahead, Tim. You're on the air. Welcome. Good, brother.
Good, man. I wanted to say, Obama has been one hell of a weapon for you. I mean, if anybody's going to help you expose corruption or lies in the establishment, I think you're not giving Obama enough credit. I mean,
he has, as a propagandist for him, he got a lot done, but it's also backfired in many respects. I agree with you that the establishment's in trouble.
Sorry about that. But no, I mean, the first thing I think he said was he was going to finance $1 trillion deficit by magical means. And then he was one of the first presidents ever that didn't get a war when he demanded it. People don't believe him. The mistakes this guy has made has just outed the establishment left, right, and center.
Well, let's not just blame Obama. The elite are so Machiavellian that they don't even have a narrative anymore, and then they lose the soft power they had. But I agree with you that they are making us a joke. That's why we've got to explain they're not us.
My friends, Alex Jones here to tell you about some of the most important information concerning you and your family's health. Radiation levels have more than doubled in the last 60 years in the Northern Hemisphere from all of the nuclear testing and radiological accidents. Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Looking to protect my family, I've done deep research. Nascent iodine is the purest, cleanest, absolute best form of iodine to protect yourself and your family. It's made right here in the USA, completely non-GMO. I searched out the best quality and now have developed a double-strength form of nascent iodine, exclusively available at InfoWarsLife.com. Nascent iodine is on record as one of the only safe ways to detox from fluoride poisoning. Survival Shield Nascent Iodine. Secure your super high-quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.